And it's running.
Big money, big money, big money,
Big
no
money,
whammies.
big money, no whammies. All right. And it started to write the chapter. And this is sometimes what happens. So if it starts writing it, oh, I guess it's not writing a chapter. It's, well, holy Toledo, you guys. I have not seen First Draft do this. It's giving us 3 paragraphs. Oh, I've got goosebumps. This is fantastic. We haven't read it yet, so we don't know if it's any good, but I'm getting, let's see here, 575, we're counting up. This is so exciting. This is like my favorite part. We're getting about 250, between 150 and 200 words per part.
So to clarify, you can feed 2K into the small box, or you can expect up to 2.
Feed, I've done as much as 2,000 words, because we're actually going to feed all of this into the box.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens. This is exciting. I have a suspicion they've been tinkering on First Drafts as they've seen that we've been playing with it. Which is fine. I mean, this is why I love working with the Sudowrite team. I love being a writer. I love this software. I've been using it since November 2021. Has anyone been using it longer than November of last year? Anybody in the early beta of like June, I think, or the summertime? Oh, I'm the oldest one.
I got in
Whoa,
sometime
Jenny.
in the summer of 2021.
Yay!
Yeah.
Here's the class of 2021. Pseudo writers. Okay, we are at 1,600 words, ladies and gentlemen, and we are just now at part 12. This is a beautiful day. You can go make a cup of coffee. Let this junior bot run. Now, who do we not take out of the writing process, though? Ourselves. Exactly. So it's fantastic that they can do this for me, but I'm beholden to my readers. So it's my responsibility that I validate this outline, that I make sure it's exactly what is going to make for the tropes and everything, and also to make sure that we're not having any, because the AI did learn from humans, and sometimes humans aren't always the greatest people. So you also want to make sure that your outlines and stuff don't have biases or anything like that in there as well. Okay, that was 2,100 words. I think we can applaud Sudowrite on this, because this is like the most I have. This is up there with my highest amount for First Draft. Huh?
Clap, 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 clap.
Yes. Clap, clap, clap. That's the most I've seen. Well, just stick with EAW. We push the limits all the time. That's what we do. All right, so let's see what we've got, because that was a lot of words. Let's see if it's any good. All right, part 1. The sky was alive with lights, says Detective Anderson and his robotic. Oh, so it's already mistaken. It's swapped our positions here. It's made the detective human, and it's made the partner Rob. We'll see if it made Anderson the funny one. I have a feeling it didn't. I have a feeling Anderson's the main character here. Descended into the near future metropolis of technology and mystery. Now, here's where you could use describe or rewrite. So this near future metropolis of technology and mystery, I could highlight this, and I could very quickly click rewrite. Oh, I have to highlight at least 10 words. Okay, hold on a minute here. I could brainstorm. Let's do this. Let's go near future. We're going to copy this, and I'm going to brainstorm. I want locations. So world buildings is what we'll go ahead and do. So I'm going to click on this. Give me a list of names for and I'm pasting it in, a near future metropolis of technology and mystery. And I'm going to put the context that this is science fiction mystery. How many of you have worked with Brainstorm a lot? Yes, no? So I give it a list of what I need, science fiction mystery, and we're going to go. So now that's thinking. All right. Who likes any of these? Anyone step out to anybody? We've got Siberia City, Nexus City. I kind of like Nexus, Techno City, Chronopolis, and Dark Citadel. Okay, people like Chronopolis. Reminds me of Chrono Trigger. Okay, so we're gonna say yes, Chronopolis. Synthopolis. I can't even say that. I don't like that one. How about Nexus City? We like that one. It's very creative. Anarachropolis. I know it's a tongue twister, but we'll throw it in there. Neo Tokyo. That's really cool. Oh, so now this is something that would make me wonder. I would Google and see if any of these names are already settings in like big cyberpunk things or something like that. Metronome. Oh, I just had flashbacks to piano lessons. Anyone else? Metronome. All right.
Mhm.
Huh? Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Metronome. Metronome it is. Yeah, I think Neo Tokyo is used for sure. The steady beat of, oh gosh, there's James. James Yu, everyone, is one of the other founders of Sudowrite, and I'm glad that he was able to make it here. So metronome, the steady beat of cyberpunk. So when you brainstorm, what I love as a feature is that those brainstorms are right here at your fingertips. So how many of you have ever had like organizational problems where like you have your notes on sticky notes or in another file or something like that when you're writing with something? Yes, and so Sudowrite already brings these details in, and I'm hoping that in the future we can ask for more features that bring our details like at our fingertips for like our character lists and things like that, so that they're just on cards and we can bring them in, or we can do that. So I think we're going to go with metronome. In the near future, metropolis of technology and mystery, metronome. Oh gosh. The journey from the small town where Anderson had been called in on the case had been long and tiring, an arduous cross-country flight, as the crime scene was too far away for a car. And yet, as they descended and the twinkling lights of the city below them slowly came into view, Anderson felt a spark of excitement. He knew that this case was going to be unlike any other. An android had been destroyed in a violent explosion, leaving behind a peculiar recording that Anderson and Rob had to decipher. Whoever had done this had powerful motives of revenge and greed, and Anderson knew that he was in for an interesting investigation. As the plane descended, Anderson noticed the city's unique architecture, as if it were made of metal and steel. In the center of the city was a gleaming tower. Okay. Is it made from metal and steel? And everything made an annoying clicking noise, right? In the center of the city was a gleaming tower, its tip stretching up into the night sky and casting a pale glow onto the buildings below. Anderson knew that this was where his investigation would take him. Now, this is just a suggestion. How many of you would rewrite this to make the details stand out more, or use the rewrite function to make things changes? Yes, absolutely. Like that is what we would do. That would take more time. I'm just going to show some features, but I want to really emphasize that our junior writing partner really came through for us. I feel like if this was a co-writer I was working with, like let's say I was working with somebody who's in their first year of writing or something, I would say, hey, these are some great ideas, but they're kind of like first ideas. Let's push it to that second, third, and fourth idea. And that's what we would do next. So just to show, I think this peculiar recording, right, that they have to decipher, I think we could expand that a little bit. So I could literally click this, and there's at least enough words, and I could click the expand feature. Let's find out more about this peculiar recording. Now, something important about the expand feature, expand only takes into consideration the words that you highlight. And that's an important thing to understand, because if you want it to have context that's higher up in your story, you need to include that when you're doing your expand. On the same time that expand has a limitation on how far up it can go. So Anderson and Rob descended into metronome. The first thing they noticed was the peculiar recording. It was almost like a song with a slow repeating beat and ethereal vocals that seemed to be wordless. Okay, I like that line. That was worth it to get that line. How many people like that line? Anyone? Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to come over to my outline here, and I'm going to say that they had to decipher. And then I'm going to put the recording, and I'm going to paste that in, was almost like a song. The reason why I didn't put it was almost like a song and I defined it as the recording is because as we turn this into a beat outline, pronouns that are generic like that, sometimes the AI can get confused about what we're talking about. So by saying it's specifically the record, like I say, working with AI, it's like a whole new set of writing skills. You have to constantly redefine these generic pronouns and things that you're working with to make sure that the AI understands what we're linking to. Okay, so I think we're pretty good with this. We see how we would change this. Who wants to turn this into a beat outline? Anyone? Do we want to go further down and see what else we have in here? So I have that they got to the
quick question.
Yes.
Quick question to clarify in terms of the difference between the context grab for rewrite versus expand. Is it, I just want to make sure I'm clear. Expand will look beyond what you've selected, but rewrite will only look at what you've selected in terms of context. Is that correct? It seemed like when you did expand here, it grabbed information that wasn't part of what was initially selected. So it seemed like it grabbed a greater context, but rewrite just was going to be specific to the line. Just trying to figure out the difference between those two commands and when you'd use one versus the other.
So it didn't quite do it. So what I highlighted was leaving behind a peculiar recording that Anderson and Rob had to decipher. Where were we? So I guess it did read up a little bit and understanding that they were in metronome because that wasn't in there. You're right. So it was able to read up and then keep going. Yep. It does read some of the content before. Yes. So certain features. And I think that that's an area that we can work with the developers to try to get better definitions of what reads up and what doesn't. I have some information on that. It does look like expand does read up and it got their names, which weren't in the highlight. But then it didn't read down. It didn't go down. It started giving like new information. Like it was almost like going on to something else to give more information. So, because it's saying landing in the city, the search led them to an abandoned warehouse in a secluded part of town. That's not going to be in that first part of the scene. Does that make sense from an author's point of view? Sometimes expand tries to tie it up in a little bow with what you're expanding because it doesn't read down and realize that there's more to the story.
Got
Does
it.
that
Thank
make
you.
sense? Does that
Thank
answer
you.
the question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so it read up, it didn't read down. I will find that one of the things that you could do, this is a cool trick. Yes, so one of the ways you can trick it into reading down, and that's what I was going to show, is you highlight some of the down. So for example, as they descended and the twinkling lights of the city below them slowly came to view, Anderson felt a spark of excitement. He knew that this case was going to be unlike any other. Let's say right here, I want this stuff. You can actually put a command in here. And we'll try the parentheses, but sometimes I just write it in there. I'm like, I need more action here. Add an action beat. And I'm just going to put it in there and I'm going to highlight the sentence before and I'm going to highlight my command and I'm going to highlight the sentences after that I want. And now if I do expand, it will do expand. And now it's starting to add that they're passing high-rise buildings and hover cars, the open courtyard where a crowd had gathered. So see how it gave me some more details and stuff there. It didn't quite do action, I guess. Oh, now there's a figure. It was the missing android and it was in bad shape. Its metallic body had been stripped of its outer casing and its inner wiring exposed. They needed to act quickly. So it's a little confused because it thinks now that we're going to be able to save that android. So there are some limitations with working with expand. This is definitely the junior writing partner. So you just kind of work with it as you can. I'm not going to add any of that in there for right now because the next step that we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a beat outline and see how that goes. Any questions about how you would fine tooth go through this and you would change it to what you want the outline to be?
Hey, Elizabeth, can you hear me?
Yes.
Quick question. Under the history section, where you're writing, where the expand was generated, are you able to write in there? I mean, can you click and write in there as well? Or does it not let you do, there's no way to do that? Okay.
No, you can't. So if I know that I need to tweak something or something like that, so what I usually have is a document here that I will call scraps. For some reason, it doesn't want to let me rename something sometimes unless I have words in there. It's just being difficult today. Scraps. I did double click and it was still not playing. But that's where I might come into this untitled and I might grab that card and I want to play with it more and I would just throw it in my scrap pile and then I start playing with it there. Because sometimes the organization here can get really confusing. I think somebody asked for us to be able to color code and that would be very helpful if we could actually color different text so I could like highlight things as I'm working with it. And then once I'm satisfied with it, like not make it purple anymore, or not make it red anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Good. Thank you.
But does that help? Would that help as a methodology? Because we wanted to talk about workflow.
Yes.
So another great workflow is just create yourself a scrap document.
Okay.
So now here we're going to do, this was the first outline.
That first
Yes.
expand you had a pretty good twist at the bottom.
I'm sorry?
The first expand you did had an interesting twist at the bottom. You could put that
Okay,
in the
we'll take a look
scrap.
at it. Ooh, good catch. I like that twist. Who likes that twist? That the robot replica, it's an android of Detective Anderson himself. Okay, so we're going to copy that. I don't know where it goes on the outline yet. We're just going to put that in our scrap pile for right now. I'm just going to copy this whole thing right here. We're going to put that in scraps, as that's a cool thing, and I can maybe integrate it into the beats. And again, part of this class is it's a little outside the scope for me to go through this whole outline. I mean, that would take hours, right? We know that that's work. If you're going to actually play with for me, I'm a plotter and I usually play with my outlines for days. How many of you play with your outlines for days before you start moving on to actually writing? Yeah, I will play with the outline. I will let it germinate. I'll think of weeks. Yeah. So I don't want anyone to think that when I move on to this next step, I'm not trying to say you should just take what the AI gave you and run with it. You do need to validate it. I just have to show you everything in 2 hours and I don't have a time machine to speed it up. So I'm just going to show the feature of what you would do next. But first you should go line by line and you should make all of this the way that you want it. So our next prompt to do this, and I'm now realizing that this should have just been a class on outlining, is now we need to expand the outline to make it more detailed. Although it kind of already did that because it already did the paragraphs of information for each part. So I almost wonder so we're going to tweak that outline. We're going to tweak that prompt a little bit because I don't know about you, but I think this outline here, I mean, one thing that you could do is you could immediately grab this one bit right here, part 1. I'm just going to grab that part and I'm going to copy it. If I was to go into an add new file, add new document, and generate a first draft, I could just say, write the following chapter. Do a colon, because we're defining what that chapter is. Actually, I want to say what kind of book it is. Write the following chapter for a science fiction mystery, right? And then I paste that in and I click go. We should get prose. And now it's going to think, one of the questions is there a collaboration function for Sudowrite for 2 users? Not yet, but that is something I think that would be great to add to the feature list. And I'll show you where you can do that.
All I can say right now is wow.
Everyone's having a good time. The hovering car nearby, the driverless car lifted off the ground. Yeah, this is so cool. So it's going. I've already got 468 words. And now we finally have some dialogue here. But let's say I want dialogue further up. So this is where, so we can cancel sleep. This is where I would probably put, the sky was alive with lights as Detective Anderson and his robotic partner Rob descended into the near future metropolis of technology and mystery metronome. You could go this and you could expand that. One of my favorite rewrite features, the presets, is show not tell. If we click that, it should just expand that. So I highlighted 60 words and we want to show not tell. That prompt again, but ask for a different style, tense of point of view. Yes, we can try that. So here we go. He's adjusting his trench coat and stepped onto the escalator that would take him down to the near future metropolis of metronome. A neon sign lit up the dark sky and the cityscape before them. Like, this is way better. I would definitely be able to tweak this a lot better than the first stuff, the first generation. And we started with 60 words. And if I highlight these, I do have a plugin that does word counter. That's 72 words. So it's a little bit more. And then this one, we have more. So what I like to do with my cards is I like to take details from both cards and kind of kit bash them together, so to speak, and take pieces of them. What if you put show not tell in the prompt? We can try that. Yep, we'll do the chapter 1 again. So to get your chapter outline, if you ever want your prompt that you did, if you click another document and you go back into that original document, there's a draft card that will get generated, and that draft card will always have your prompt. So this was the prompt that we had beforehand. And I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to say that we actually did the whole, we did that whole first part. So I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to put that there. Okay. So let's do that again. So I'm going to come back to my prompt playing, because we like to play in here so we can see it. Everybody can see it. We're going to try to write the first chapter. And I basically have skipped the writing the beats because I felt that our chapter, our outline that it generated was pretty decent with the paragraphs of description for each part already. I wouldn't necessarily run that again. It did fine.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Have you ever tried giving it instructions for like a style or tone in the first draft prompt?
That's what we're about to do. That's what we're about to do right now. Yeah. So now somebody said we wanted to do a different point of view and we wanted it to have like a different tone. So let's make the tweak here, and then we'll copy and paste it into our first draft. So write the following chapter for a science fiction mystery. Do we want an ominous tone? Okay, with an ominous, now I'm already breaking some rules here, guys. Usually I will, when I'm working on my own stuff, I only change one variable at a time. But in the interest of time for the class, I'm going to show a whole bunch of these variables at once, and we'll see what we get. An ominous tone, showing, not telling, with engaging dialogue. And here's another prompt that I've come. Add in new characters and clear details that enhance the story. Basically, I'm giving a command to the AI, telling it has the freedom to do this. Okay, so what do we want for point of view? Do we want third person, first person? I think third person point of view works better for mysteries. Third person.
I would
Okay, so
agree.
we're gonna go third person point of view for the stylistic. So I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat as well, so you guys can see some of the parameters that I put in here. And the sky's the limit. Like we played today with the cannolis and the dialogue. The sky's the limit. If you already know a character that you want, like I said, it could make new characters. I could tell it, add him going to a coffee cart and have a coffee cart lady. Like you could have, or have him interact with artificial things. You can really kind of direct the symphony, so to speak, as a creative director when you're playing with Sudowrite. So we're going to go ahead and put this in here and see what we get. So we'll go, I would say that this one was the first version of the first chapter. And now we'll do a second version. Yeah, it's really not liking it unless I put some details in there. So I have the exact same prompt, but now I have this newer stuff information here. Instead of that. Okay, hold on, I'm missing that. You have a mistake there before enhance. Oh, see? That enhanced the story. There we go. And I'll grab that again so you guys have the accurate one in the chat. This chat log is going to be gold, but go ahead and copy and paste so that you have it for your notes and you don't have to wait until we can get the document to you. Okay, this guy was alive and all this stuff. We're going to have fun. Here we go. Go Gadget. I always wanted to be Penny when I was growing up. I love that she had a computer, for those of you who watched Go Gadget. Inspector Gadget. Go Gadget, go. Okay. We are descending, the sound of their engines muffled by the darkness of the night. So it still struggled, I would say, in that first paragraph. That first paragraph is very pedantic. I would definitely change it quite a bit and make it more engaging. Let's see if it writes more words for us. Okay, we have 491. Oh, it introduced Mr. Green, the head of security. Remember how I gave it that detail that it could create more characters? So this is where, now if you know that you needed to create X number of characters, we could tell it that prompt, and it should expand it out. Filter words, noticed, admired. Yes, you can actually rewrite. Here's some editing practices with it. I think the show don't tell was a bit difficult, but maybe let me tweak the prompt. This is something that happens when you get frustrated. 9 times out of 10, the problem is the prompt. I never told it what style, like writing wise, I should do. So let's take that prompt that we're going to work with and let's tweak it some more. Let's go third person point of view. I'm going to put in the style of H.P. Lovecraft. What do you guys think? Like it? Okay, and then I'm also going to tell it, add in 3 new characters and clear details that enhance the story. Have Detective Anderson interact with AI pieces of the setting. Third person point of view. Okay, good point. I always like to write the first few paragraphs entirely on my own. Yes, that's a good thing. Should I switch to guided write? Exactly, that'll work. since actually first draft can kind of, if you really want big chunks, you can use first draft to create the chunks and put them in. I've done that before. If I have like kind of a longer prompt. So let me copy and paste this new prompt that we did, and we will play with some guided write here in just a second. Because I think this is probably the last iteration that we need to do, and everybody's kind of got the gist of how you're going to direct first draft with your outlines. So let's see if this finally gets us some dialogue. So we'll do another one. Generate the first draft. I'm going to copy and paste it in, and here we go. And then Federico taught me a trick to speed this along. I personally love the animation, but not everybody does. Okay, for a character-driven story, I found this prompt helpful. Expand with sensory and emotional description and add dialogue. Yes, you can definitely get those things. Ooh, we've got a much better first sentence. The plane touched down on the runway, the wheels screeching and the engines rumbling. Like it's already much better imagery, I think. Jen, I love that you're eating popcorn as you're watching this. So if I don't want to watch,
I mean, I came for a show.
okay, so if we don't want to watch the animation, if you click to another document and then you come in, it'll be done. So if you don't want to have to sit through the animation, you can go faster that way. Someone else is eating waffles. I'm glad it's dinner and a show. It's not me. Oh no, that doesn't work. It cut it off. It shouldn't have cut it off. Okay, so that does not work anymore. Don't do that, ladies and gentlemen. As far as I know, you can't yet. So we'll just run that again and we'll just watch it. It's amazing the things that worked a few days ago and they don't now. So I'm just doing the exact same prompt. If it's ever going haywire and you don't like it, you can press the escape key and that will stop it, by the way, as well. So since this does use words. I like that first one, but that's why I didn't destroy it. I kept it. So this is the HP Lovecraft prompt again. I just ran it again because I accidentally broke it by using something that doesn't work anymore. Don't do that. Don't switch to a different document. Let the animation run. Oh, look at this. Look at this. We're getting it. We're getting the dialogue back and forth because I said he had to interact with AI pieces of the setting. Sometimes I do feel like I need a wand. I need like a conductor wand, you know, or just a magic wand. It does feel very magic wandish. All right, we got the most amount of words that time in creating it. I told it to create 3 new characters. I don't know if it did that, but we do have some information here and some different pieces. Does anyone have any questions about first draft, or do you feel like you have been given enough insights on first draft that you're going to be able to like go run and play with this?
I do have a question.
Yes.
So let's assume that I've done my my save the cat beat sheet. So I've got the opening image. So all I need to do is write the opening image semicolon. I hope I got that right. And add in that summary that is given to me, press go, and then I should have something. And then I can just put in some stuff in there to me, maybe add dialogue, etc., etc., etc. Because I did it once, and actually what it did, maybe when I look at the prompt, it actually just repeated the beats. Somehow, yeah.
So I think
maybe
that prompt that we did, remember I said it to, let's see here. Write the following chapter for a science fiction mystery.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and do that because I think Save the Cat is really popular. Let's go back to our outline prompt that we had because I promised I would do this and then I forgot and I apologize. The 15-part outline. So I'm going to grab this original prompt that we had that just has the summary and it has the prompt. I'm going to add a new document here. Oh, let's go to our prompt first. So we change it in the prompt so you guys can see it. So this is going to be the Save the Cat prompt because everybody likes Save the Cat, screenplays, all that. Okay, so here's where I'm going to put in that Save the Cat information. I'm going to change that not to italics anymore. We're going to write a 15-part outline using the plot structure of Save the Cat. And again, it doesn't have to be all caps. I do that for the human eyes. I'm old. I want to be able to see the pieces that I did. It makes it easy for when I'm changing things. Okay, so right here, that's the prompt. Elle, is this similar to a prompt that you've done before about to make you Save the Cat outlines?
Yeah, so I just said, well, I didn't use the 15 part in front of it. All that I just said was using the plot structure of Save the Cat writes this. So I think
Gotcha.
I know where I've made the mistake, because when it did do the Save the Cat, I think most probably I must have included the open image thing,
Mhm.
and then I must have put it into first draft or expand or something. So it
Yes.
looked at the opening image and said that, oh, and then took that opening image and then did another Save the Cat based on that open image paragraph that I did. So most probably I made a mistake. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and so we'll show that. But yeah, I have found that when I put that into the first draft, it thinks I want more. No, you actually can't say chapters. At least in my experimentations, you haven't been able to, because it doesn't understand chapters as being pieces of outlines. We don't typically talk about outlines and then the chapters. It's really parts of the outline, and then we're defining those parts to be chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 2, chapter 3. I mean, we can try it, but in my experiments that I've done over the last couple of weeks with people, it gets very confused. It's like, chapters don't go in outlines, but we'll give it a shot, because the AI is always learning and getting better. So sometimes something I tried last week that didn't work, the following week it does. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. This is going to be the Save the Cat version. So we're going to click go. Now this is going back to our original prompt, so it's not going to be probably as good as the tweaks that we've made with HP Lovecraft and everything. So here we have the setup. We have the theme stated, we have the catalyst, we have the debate, we have the break into 2, the B story. And for some reason, it doesn't even seem to understand that it's metronome. I must have grabbed something before we named it metronome. Oh,
So while we're waiting, so while we're waiting for that, so that means that each beat, we then take each beat and then put it into first draft, and then put our prompts just before the major prose in front of it.
You could. Me personally, this isn't enough information for me as a writer to get writing. It's a little bit too broad. So this is in that original thing that I shared with people. I would take one outline, like Save the Cat, and then I would tell it to make the outline more detailed. So what I would do is I would feed that entire thing with the expanded into a detailed beat outline for the genre novel with paragraphs of information for each part. And I would give it permission to like invent characters, invent premises, like I would really put a lot of information under that narrative command that I was giving it to give it the rights to just go do what it wants to do. Question about, can you teach Sudowrite a custom template and have it use it for future prompts? Not to my knowledge yet, but if you were to, you wouldn't be able to do it as far as I know yet, to be able to go, this is my template and all of that. That would be probably a future feature that it would be good. Let's talk about that. How do you recommend features? Does anybody know how you recommend features? What you do is if you go to
You
this
post it
little,
on Slack and then they tell you to go to the website.
yeah, well, you could do that here, but if you're in Sudowrite, you could skip the Slack step. You can click the little question mark right here and you can suggest a feature. And you also can vote on features. So let's take a look at the vote on features thing right here. So you can see that the #1 thing right now is the store memory or lore book, and that is in progress. So you can always create things. So you can come in here, follow the story outline. Yeah, that's an upvote situation. I will upvote. Oh, apparently I'd already upvoted that because it went down to 86 when I clicked on it again. So these are the features that you can do. Upload, writing, document export option, it's in progress. So the team will actually show you what is in there. They do have planned mobile support. So this is a great place to look at if you have a question about features. Yo, good. Somebody didn't know you could suggest features or vote on them. I'm glad I was able to show that.